If you shower or brush your teeth or try to make your hair look presentable, here's some good news. Dollar Shave Club has a lot of stuff to help you out. Dollar Shave Club delivers everything you need to look, feel, and smell your best. Shampoo, conditioner, body wash, toothpaste, hair gel, even a wipe that leaves your tush feeling tingly clean. All of Dollar Shave Club's products are made with top-shelf ingredients that won't break your budget. You'll feel the difference. Plus, shipping is free with your membership. And here's a great way to try a bunch of Dollar Shave Club's products for just $5. You can get their Daily Essential Starter Set. It comes with Body Cleanser, One Wipe Charlie's, their amazing butt wipes, and their world-famous shave butter. And their best razor, the 6-Blade Executive. Keep the blades coming for a few more bucks a month and add in a shampoo, toothpaste, or anything else you need. Check it all out at dollarshaveclub.com/Chad. That's dollarshaveclub.com/Chad.
Independent in thought and punk rock in life. It's the Chad Benson Show.
Mostly use holidays so we can eat more. I normally don't have a burger, a brat, and a steak, but it is 4th of July. And I need the energy if I'm going to start blowing crap up. That's what the founding fathers would want.
Oh, it is. Can you feel it? I mean, do you have, like, Phil, producer Phil, are you a little itchy right now? Feeling it too?
Yeah, I'm feeling it a little bit.
Yeah, around here, there is nobody here. I'm looking out in the parking lot. It is super empty. Super empty. How you doing, everybody? Happy 4th of July Eve, right? Tomorrow we'll be eating tons of food, more than our eyes will be like, oh, my God, I want it all. And our stomachs will be like, let's slow our roll. But no, like he really did. He really ate it all. Question of the day I have up, just a fun one, is are you burgers or are you a hot dog guy? And I should have phrased the hot dog better. It's beef dogs. Nathan's, right? Like, you like Nathan's? Hebrew National. I like a beef dog. I don't like the other crap. I'm not that. And Don, somebody texted me, what about a veggie burger? I'm like, that's awful. I wouldn't let a veggie burger touch my barbecue. Chad, you're a veggieist, probably. A smidge. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. I watched the England game that just finished a little while ago, and I checked my little Fitbit, like I have a Samsung Gear. My heart was like 105 beats because England went to penalties, and it was, oh, England, what are you doing to me, kids? What are you doing to me? Here we are a day before our celebration of our independence, and we're still talking about, yes, this.
Democrats have made it abundantly clear that they don't actually want to fix problems. They just want to talk about this all the way. I guess for some reason they think this is a good issue for them, although it isn't. And frankly, I think it's outrageous that Democrats have not come to the table and tried to help fix this problem.
Yeah, immigration is still a nightmare. And illegal immigration is still a nightmare. And we need to figure out what we're going to do. But I came up with a wacky idea, because we've been doing the same thing over and over again for umpteen years, and we don't get a different result. And that's by design, by the way. For those of you not keeping score, that is by design. Sometimes I think it's, if we think about it, oh, it's insanity what we do in Washington. This politics is crazy. This politics is nuts. This politics is doing everything they want. The war on drugs, immigration. It's never about solving a problem. It's kind of the same thing that the pharmacies, the big pharma want, is they don't actually want to cure you, right? They want to keep you alive. They don't want you to die, right? And if over time you're cured, that's great. But they don't really want to cure you. They would like to just keep you alive forever, because that's where they make their money. And politics is the same way. They don't really want to fix anything. They don't want to solve anything. They want to put Band-Aids, right? They want to plug holes, but they don't really want to fix it. And in some ways, we sit here and go, this is insanity, but that's from our perspective. From their perspective, like, this is working the way we thought it would work. It's perfect. Why change anything? It's working. Absolutely, it's working. We're not solving the problem. The problem still exists. They can bitch, whine, and moan about it, and they can continue to come to us to say, fix the problem, and we tell them we need more money to fix the problem, and we're like, here, take some more of our money, and then they go out and get reelected, and they blame the other side for being the boogeyman, and nothing gets solved. But I came up with a wacky idea. When I lived in Europe, you had to get a work visa if you lived outside of Europe. Right, because so England is part of the European Union, and so they had the Brexit thing. But before that, they became part of the European Union, which means people in Europe could work in England, and essentially being European was their work visa. Why don't we do the same thing with Mexico, America, and Canada? A North American kind of deal. Put it into NAFTA. And maybe throw in some of the Central American countries, and we put X amount of visas per whatever it is that people are coming here to do, okay? So let's say we need agriculture. We maybe say we have 2 million visas for agriculture. We hand those out. Being from Mexico and being from wherever, you don't have to go through any of the rigmarole. This is part of it. And here's the thing that's crazy is, for the Republicans, it's not a bad idea. Because what it does is it gives people like that opportunity to come here. Now, here's the thing. Canada has to do the same. Mexico has to do the same. So they may say, look, we need computer engineers or something, and Mexico says, and we're going to give out 100,000, to Canada and Mexico. Between the two of them, people come down here and work and all these things. So, we're keeping it in North America, if you will. But what it does is, a lot of times people come here, and sometimes begrudgingly over time, they morph into wanting to be a citizen. A lot of times people who come to this country, particularly from Central America and Mexico, they become a citizen over time period. It's not really what they want. A lot of times they come here, what they eventually want to do is go home. Right? They want to be able to make some money and go home. Democrats want them to be citizens because they know that this is the way to voting. Right? It's people from other parts of the world that come here who believe in the American dream. If we did something like this, what it does is we could start to actually approach our issue of illegal immigration in a much different way by making it legal immigration and basically giving people contracts. You're here for 6 months as a migrant farm worker. You're here for a year or 2 year contract with X, Y, and Z company. They have to, it's not as hard as people make it out to be, although the government, I'm sure, will figure out a way to screw it up. But what it does do is it doesn't give people any incentives to want to become citizens here in the United States, which means their voting power really doesn't count for anything if they're not going to be citizens here. And it takes away the oomph that the Democrats have as they push for citizenship. And while we're doing this, we can solve, a lot of the other immigration problems along the way. First and foremost, saying unless you have one of these visas, you're automatically out of here. There is no hey, go to jail, wait 6 months, and we'll give you a hearing. Nope, if we catch you, you're gone. Period, case closed. But we're going to give you 6 months to get all these things, sorted out. It's not hard to do, and it takes away that incentive that I think a lot of Democrats dangle out there, which is citizenships, which for many of them is the only way they're going to be able to stay in this country, they think. A lot of them, if you ask them, they don't want to be here. Some of them do, but a good portion of them, they come here for a finite time. They want to earn enough money to send back to their families, and they can go home. And if they had a chance, say, a migrant farm worker to come work somewhere for 6 months, make X amount of dollars, and return home to his family or her family, boom. But it really takes away the thunder. Plus, it would give us an opportunity. People want to go to Mexico and work. They would have an opportunity to do that. People wanted to go up to Canada. What it does is it's not opening borders, right? It's not the open borders thing, but it's enough of welcoming, that there's no really incentive for them to stay here and want to become citizens. And that right there is great. Because when I was in England, I'd see people come over all the time. Nobody had it. They didn't want to be anything other than what they were. Swedes didn't want to be English. English didn't want to be German. Germans didn't want to be French. They were just there for work. And it's something to think about. I absolutely find it to be something to think about because I think at this point in time, what we have done and what we have pushed, and remember, I want to find solutions to problems. Maybe my solutions fall flat. Maybe they open up something new that could really be worked out. Now, this is just for the North American, potentially, maybe Honduras, Guatemala, El Salvador, they get a few. But outside of that, that's this kind of corridor. If you want to come from India, you want to come from, Malaysia, if you want to come from England or wherever, you still have to go through the same process as everybody else. Maybe even more so of a merit-based kind of thing. But for here, I think it would be a real boom. And it takes away that incentive of a lot of people wanting to come here and become citizens because sometimes they feel like that might be the only hope they have. They could still be who they are. And I bet you really take a lot of the sting out. It's something to float out there. And if you're a Democrat and you heard something like this, you'd be going, uh-oh. Wait, what? No. You're like, yeah, I like that idea. And the Democrats will be like, no, you want to become citizens, don't you? No, I like it. I'm okay being Guatemalan, Honduran, El Salvadorian. I'm okay being Mexican. I'm okay being all the... No, I would like back and forth and the ease of coming back and forth without having to worry. Ooh, I'll take that every day. Oh, the worry on their faces. Because remember, they're counting on the 12, 13, 14 million people, whatever it is that's actually here, eventually over time becoming citizens over the next 5, 10, 15 years, and that voter block would be so massive. It'd be crazy. Something to think about. Sometimes you got to go outside that box to fix what's inside the box. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Question of the day, kids. Barbecuing tomorrow. You're sitting down, get ready to blow stuff up. You look over, you see the barbecue full of hot dogs or hamburgers, and they're good hot dogs. They're those great American Hebrew Nationals, those big Nathan's beef dogs, those big things. And you say to yourself, do you want a hamburger? Do you want a hot dog? You can only have one. What would you take? 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. AmazingCryptoClass.com. A lot of people have been saying, hey, Chad, you know what? I'm skeptical. I went there. I talked to Tiki Tawari. I went through the course. I checked stuff out. It really does teach you everything you need to know about cryptocurrencies. I said it does. Some people say, hey, you know what? I've gone on to do some stuff with. Other people say, you know what? I got an education, like you say. That's all I ask. If you're going to diversify your portfolio and you can look to the future of investing, what is that? It's cryptocurrency. Cryptocurrency is, the opportunities are great. And they're going to get greater and greater as time goes by. Well, some of them are going down. Yeah, some of them are, and some of them are going up. It's about knowing when to strike, but it's also about educating yourself so you know when to diversify your portfolio. This guy's a Wall Street guy, a hedge fund guy. He knows what he's talking about. So will you. He's going to teach you everything from start to finish. What are they? How do you buy them? How do they work? What's a blockchain? You're going to learn it all. Check it out for yourself. Don't take my word. Check it out for yourself. Go to AmazingCryptoClass.com. That's AmazingCryptoClass.com. AmazingCryptoClass.com. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. ChadBenson. We got your urban word of the day. Straight ahead, Chad Benson Show.
That sniffling, sneezing, stuffy head thing going on? Time for your daily dose of Vitamin Chad.
The 4th of July falls midweek this year on a Wednesday, and a lot of people apparently thought that would be a great reason to take a long weekend or maybe even the whole week off. The TSA says last Friday was its second busiest day ever, with more than 2,677,000 people taking to the skies. The only day the agency screened more passengers was November 28th, the Sunday after Thanksgiving in 2004.
Lots of people traveling, and remember that this weekend. Be smart, and as producer Phil and I say, there is one thing you can always avoid: drinking and driving. But airport alcoholism, as we all know, because a lot of people, airportaholics, you guys get there and you just start hammering. That's 8 a.m. I'm in an airport. But I heard Atlanta today was just a nightmare. I couldn't even imagine driving somewhere today. Is, you know what, I don't know, because I think a lot of people, I think the way it is a lot of people bounced last week, right? drove last week. I think flying was probably bigger, but people are still going to be on the road today and probably somewhat tomorrow. So just don't be an idiot. That's one of those things where, like, we shouldn't have to say that, but we kind of have to remind people. And I watched Live PD, and producer Phil, you know this. Do you ever see anybody pulled over? The cops say, if you had anything to drink, yeah. What is the number they say when you said, well, how many have you had?
2.
It's always 2. Now, it might have been 2 gallons, but it's always 2. Just be smart. That's all I'm saying, people. Each and every day at this time, we like to regale you with fun, and we do it no different way. So we head into this holiday is every day. We call this our Urban Word of the Day.
It's time for the Urban Word of the Day, fam.
What? Right now?
Time to get a little more hip on the streets.
I can't understand a word you're saying.
Urban Word of the Day.
We're talking about eating, right? Talking about what we're doing this weekend. Some people say barbecue. For a lot of other people, they simply say, man, I'm queuing this weekend. I got the queue on and we're chilling. What? Yeah, queuing. What you queuing on the barbecue? Got a little bit of maybe some steak, right? Maybe some carne asada. Definitely got some hot dogs. Good kind. Nathan's. Hebrew National. And I got some burgers. And they're done up good. That's what I'm going to be doing this weekend. I'm going to be queuing. Is your Urban Word of the Day.
Thank you for saying that in dated urban slang so that I'll understand you. That there was the Urban Word of the Day. We damn stretched your cranium.
Divers are bringing the boys food, electrolytes, antibiotics and painkillers, but officials must now weigh several rescue strategies, including draining the floodwaters to clear a passage, teaching the group to scuba dive so they can swim out on their own, or bringing them supplies to survive until the water subsides, which could take several months.
Oh, so the Thai soccer team that went on that little trip into the cave, it was like a team building exercise. The waters came, it was like a flash flood, and they got lost 2 miles in, and now the waters have risen. They're alive. They found them. They don't know when they can get them out. And you heard them there. It could take several months. They have said it could take 2-3 months. I don't think it's going to take that long, but they're expecting more rains, which could be a real big issue and definitely delay it. They've taught it, we could teach them how to scuba dive. Now, I learned to scuba dive when I was younger in my pool. My neighbor was a scuba dive instructor, and he gave my whole family and I a bunch of scuba lessons. It's not like you're going to be underwater for hours, but it is a dangerous dive. That's part of it. Apparently they're 2 miles inside of this cave kind of maze, and it's going to take them a while. So I have a feeling the rains will subside at some time, and they'll try to go for it then. But until then, they said they're feeding them, and they're getting them healthy, and they're making sure they have first aid because some of them are struggling a little bit. But all of them seem to be in pretty good, nick, as we would say in England. They're in okay shape, and we'll see. But it is crazy that they said it could take up to several months to get them out. You guys are going to be going to school here. The next time we can get you out will be the next World Cup. You guys excited? 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Kathy Griffin is speaking again. What does she have to say? She's out and about, and she's not shying down. Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent in thought and punk rock in life. It's the Chad Benson Show.
Inside every bad thing is a good thing waiting to happen, and I feel very excited because I already have been offered so many things, and I've almost accepted one really good offer to go back on TV, and I might do it.
That's Roseanne Barr talking about her cancellation of Roseanne because of what she did. Now they're spinning it off. Now she has said that she didn't take a penny at all. And some people are saying she got a little something. She didn't get something. She got to retain the rights because now they're spinning it off into something else. I think to focus on Darlene and single mothers because we haven't had a show on TV like that ever. So I don't know. But when the only show she goes on is Shmuley, Rabbi Shmuley's podcast, who's a rabbi, I guess. And the thought is that she is getting offers. That's what she's saying. I find it to be insane if you think she's getting offers. I mean, I know. How could she at this point in time? How could she? This isn't like it's 4 or 5 years ago. I find that insane. And by the way, I was surprised to find out she's only worth about $80 million, which is a lot of money, but not a lot of money, considering she had a massive hit show. You think about what Roseanne was, and you think about Seinfeld. And I know she's had some issues, but if you think about Roseanne, you think about Seinfeld, you think about what he's worth. Right? Or Kevin James, or Ray Romano. Because everybody loved Raymond was good, right? And it was the Kevin James, whatever his show was, Kevin Kuwait or whatever it was. I forgot what it was. But they're worth hundreds of millions of dollars. And she dominated. Seinfeld and her dominated, but she was part of that massive, we knew. I find that weird. But I don't buy into this. I just don't. And part of it is because she was for the Republican side of it. And I'm interested to see when she gets a chance to come back out comparatively to other people. Now, Kathy Griffin, of course, who was scolded even by some people on the left for the craziness of her photo with the severed head of Donald Trump, is now out, and I'm waiting for her to be on Colbert or any one of these. I know she's coming out here and there, but soon they're going to be cheering on her. She's going to be getting claps. But she was on a show talking about the incident, if you will.
What were you thinking?
Okay. Number one, obviously I wanted to shame him. It, as I refer to Trump, it. I wanted to shame it. I don't believe it's human.
Wow. It. I don't believe it is human. She's talking about our president. And just remember, there is now no respect for the office whatsoever. So the right is going to come out hard when the left has their president, and it's going to be ugly. It's going to be ugly. But remember, if this was somebody who did something to the right, like she did, they're kind of already okay for forgiveness. And the way that Trump has, been evil as far as they're concerned, and the way that they've, you look at Michelle Wolf, my God, she goes out and says these things, and so a lot of these people do these things, Samantha Bee, they don't get really punished for it. They don't. There's no these people should never work again kind of thing. Because I've never been one of those people. I think people make mistakes. I think people say funny things, at least in their mind they're funny, or the people around them are funny. And the next thing you know, something happens, or it gets out there, you tweet something, and something you thought would be funny ends up being something awful to some people out there. And then you, of course, are dead in the woods for a while. Usually happens more on the right, because the left has more sway in social media. The left has more influencers in social media. The left has more people in the media that can sway some of those things. So that's going to happen. That's why she's out. And it's funny because it's been a year. She's out. She's touring. I guarantee if she goes on a Bill Maher show or any one of these shows now, and I know she's been on a few, but if she goes on, they're going to cheer her on. They're not going to boo her. They're not going to boo her.
I'm not a Megyn Kelly fan, but I do remember him saying famously, as you do, there was blood coming out of her eyes, blood coming out of her wherever. And I was doing a wacky photo shoot, and I thought, all right, let's get, a Halloween Trump mask, put a bunch of ketchup on it, and see if he likes it when there's blood coming out of his wherever.
Now, I feel like that story has changed. Didn't you? I feel like it's changed a bit. But it doesn't matter. At this point in time, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, right? It doesn't. She'll work again. Now, Roseanne, I think at some point in time will work again. At some point in time, Roseanne is going to work again. Somebody, because there are people in Hollywood who are not as crazy left as you think. They may not have the voice, but they'll stand up and they'll say, I want to do a show with her. And she will get back into some good graces. And maybe even the new show that's out there will invite her on at some point in time. But it's not going to be soon. I know I just couldn't, I'm trying to think, is there somebody brave enough? If she says she's close to working, my thing is it's got to be somebody, a production company out there that is saying, for all of your bad stuff surrounding you, at least it's surrounding you. We feel we could capitalize on it. Screw network television. We'll put you on Amazon. We'll put you on AT&T. We'll put you on Netflix. We'll put you on Hulu. We'll put you wherever we think we could put you that we could be Crackle. We'll put you somewhere. We'll see. We'll see if there's something there, but I still find it hard. It's not. I don't think there's any way it's going to end up on regular TV unless it's Fox.
How is it not an invocation of violence? In what way is it not?
It's a photo. Have you seen any of the famous, iconic covers of magazines? You could take any one of them and accuse them of inciting violence.
Yeah. So is that what we're doing now? Is that what we're doing? But she makes a point here. And this is the point I made when she did this.
Also, I'm Kathy Griffin, the comedian. So it's not like I'm not an elected. I'm not a general. I'm not an anchor person, doing the evening news. It's me.
Does that mean there are no lines for you?
There's no lines for me.
Yeah, there's no lines. There is no lines. I think the lines are the racist thing. I think that's a big thing. And it's what your audience is going to be able to take. And for her audience, they didn't care that she did this. Right? And dare I say, for Roseanne's audience, the reality is most of the people that are Roseanne's fans and that were the Trump kind of fans, the fans that were tuning into that show that gave ABC a hit, they weren't really bothered by it either. They weren't. ABC was, it's not if your fans are bothered by it, and this is something I think people need to realize, and this is important, is management bothered by it, and are the advertisers bothered by it? See, Kathy Griffin doesn't really do anything. She does concerts, right? I don't think she has a show anymore. The D-list is gone, all these things. So she was on a few things, and that bothered her, CNN, that bothered them because they can't be endorsing that and then trying to cover Trump and people saying it's not biased, but we all know it is. But when it comes to her stand-up, when it comes to stuff like that, she doesn't have sponsors, So that didn't bother them. ABC is a totally different story. ABC is a huge story because it's ABC, right? It's the American Broadcast Company. It's Disney. It's the mouse. You can't say that because we live off sponsorship. We don't live off tickets sold. We live off sponsorship. That's how we pay for your show. So you got to remember, it's not always who is upset about something. You could be upset about something, and you could be upset about something, and you could be upset about something. Is management upset? And are the sponsors terrified and ready to pull the plug? That's it. That's the fear you have. You could piss everybody else off, but if your sponsors are okay, right? If your management is sticking by you, whatever they say doesn't matter. And we all know, too, in this day and age, we're very fickle, and we have the attention span of a gnat. We're angry, rah, 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 and we forget about it, and like, oh, yeah, you did that. Because we have this short memory, and we just turn around like, oh, wow, I can't believe you did that. And back we go with, mad at something else, or, ooh, piece of candy over here, ooh, shiny object over there, and we're away from it. Like with Laura Ingraham, the stupidity of all that she got in, any kind of sponsor trouble over the whole thing with David Hogg was stupid. But her management didn't care. And yes, a bunch of, people pulled off, but they probably spoke and said, look, we're going to come back. We're not coming back now. We're going to pull off for a while, let it cool down, and then slowly we'll trickle back in. And that's what's been happening. Laura Ingram's still on air. She's not gone. It was ridiculous what people were mad at her for anyways. But that's what you need to worry about. And Kathy Griffin's audience doesn't care. They like that stuff. They're okay with that stuff. Now, if she would have came out and she would have said something horrible about gays or somebody's gender or something like that, gender identity, she would have been in a lot more trouble than what she did with Trump for her audience. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet along with us. I'm reading this article. This is how crazy we've got. It's in the New Republic. Bernie Sanders is not left enough for the left. The new progressives are angry because he's not calling for abolishing ICE, and they don't feel they feel he's now part of that kind of establishment. He's not quite left enough for them. Oh, Ivey. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. What is your favorite? Is it a hot dog? Is it hamburger? Take the poll at Chad Benson Show. We'll touch on that in a little bit. But first, let's talk about MyPillow. I didn't sleep great last night because I didn't have MyPillow. Had issues with my car. Got fixed today, which was great. Just stayed up the street at a hotel. I'm okay with that. I didn't have my pillow, though. It tossed and I turned and I used all 4 of my pillows. We go back a day. I had one pillow in the hotel that I was at in San Diego, and I slept like a baby, and that was my pillow. You would be like this, too, if you had MyPillow. Not my pillow, but your pillow, but it is a MyPillow. So go to MyPillow.com. Use promo code Benson for my premium offer. 2 premium pillows for one low price plus free shipping. MyPillow is 100% machine washable and dryable, made in the USA, backed by a 10-year warranty. That's 2 premium pillows fit to you and your sleep partner for one great low price plus free shipping. Free shipping, though, is a limited offer, so jump on this now. Get it. Call 800-944-4975. That's 800-944-4975. Tell them to use promo code Benson. Or go to MyPillow.com. Use promo code Benson for my special premium offer. You will absolutely love it. Your sleep patterns will change, and you'll feel so much better in the morning. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter, ChadBenson. 'Tis the Chad Benson Show.
Welcome to the last robot-free zone in America, where robot talk show hosts do not compute.
Oh, what an awful dream! 1s and 0s everywhere!
Do not compute.
Ugh, and I thought I saw it too.
The Chad Benson Show.
Movies coming out. Yeah, I know. It's weird, right? It's Tuesday. I'm off the rest of the week. But tomorrow, you got The Purge. The first Purge is coming out. It's kind of a prequel to how we got to all the Purge. It's the first Purge. Looks interesting. It's gonna make a ton of money, and they'll just keep rolling these things out. In fact, USA has picked up a 13 episode series of The Purge. So we'll see how that does. And then on Friday, they roll out Ant-Man and the Wasp. I love the first Ant-Man. Jack and I loved it. It was incredible. And again, it's as long as they keep making money, this is it. People say, well, why do they make these movies? It's simple, right? First of all, Hollywood knows this. You want to make movies and win Academy Awards? Let me tell you how you do it. You make other movies that make a ton of money so you can take a bath on your art house film. That's how you do it. If you want to make money, you do this. If you want to make money and make art house movies, you do this, and then you let them go make art house movies. Because very few of those movies anybody ever sees compared to something like this. Why do they make movies like Fallen Kingdom? Because it's done $1 billion in like 9 days. That's why. Why do they make this? Because Jack's like, Dad, why would they make a movie like The Purge? I'm like, people like it. It's people like the thrill and the scares and stuff. But it looks so scary because he woke me up. I passed out on Saturday night, and he fell asleep, and then he woke back up a little bit later, and he's like, Dad, I'm scared. I was watching this commercial came on for The Purge. Why would they make that? I'm like, some people like those movies. I'm one of those people. I'm raising my hand right now. But that comes out tomorrow on the 4th of July, perfectly timed. And you got Ant-Man and the Wasp, and that's going to make huge movies, and that will dominate through this 4th of July weekend. That's what it's going to do. And they'll continue to make these movies because people want to see those kind of movies. And it's weird when you say, because Hollywood's having a huge year, one of the best half years they've ever had, if not the best half a year ever. And I've always laughed at people who say, well, those movies are stupid. If you go into Magnolia Pictures, which is also at the time, I don't know, I think it's New Line Cinema and Magnolia. Magnolia makes art house movies. They make movies like The Piano and things like that. You know, they win Academy Awards and stuff. New Line Cinema was created by Freddy Krueger, and they always joke about it. It's the house that Freddy built. Right? Because it was with that kind of money that they know they can take a bath on something and spend $30 million, you know, and $100 million in an art house movie. That's not art house anymore, but, you know, those kind of super actor movies, and they can get people into them, and because they want to win awards. Because it looks great. It's like, oh my God, we won an award. Yeah, but the movie lost $40 million. Yeah, but this movie over here made $700 million. So we'll just write it off. So we'll see. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Dogs or burgers? It's your question of the day. Dogs or burgers? If you had to choose. Now, I should have prefaced it with good dogs. Not those cheap, 12 in a pack and they're crap dogs. I'm talking about real hot dogs. Nathan's, right? Which is amazing. Tomorrow's Nathan said you got the hot dog eating contest. Joey Chestnut goes for the 11th in a row. And apparently, Phil, there's $1 million bet on him to get his 11th in a row. That's tomorrow out there in Coney Island. So that kind of dog. So far, 18% of you dogs, 64% burgers, 18% other. I just don't think when there's lots of people around, I don't think you cook a bunch of steaks. It's burgers, it's dogs. What do you choose? 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. It's the Chad Benson Show.
This is the Chad Benson Show. Independent in thoughts and punk rock in life. It's the Chad Benson Show.
If I drive across a U.S. border, I know I have to stop at a Border Patrol checkpoint. But imagine driving to the grocery store, well, inside America, and being stopped by the Border Patrol.
Pastor Steven Anderson was just stopped at a Border Patrol checkpoint 60 miles from the Mexican border.
What are you placing me under arrest for?
The officers say their police dog alerted them to something in his car. But Anderson says the dog never alerted to anything. He wouldn't let them search his car, so officers break both windows and then tase him from two directions.
That is a report that John Stossel did a year ago. And I will tell you what, I drive 3 times plus a month to California. And I often wonder the same thing. When you pass in from Arizona to California, depending on where you are, if you're in Blythe, you look around and you're like, why are you, wait, what? Here? You're on the border at Yuma when you pass through, but I haven't left the state. I haven't left the country. I've gone from California to here. Well, they can come across here. I get that. But it is the questions you get asked, and it's frustrating. It's crazy. Last week, and the last couple times, I have been rolled down your window, kind of, they're asking me all kinds of questions, and I'm like, dude, slow your roll.
Lots of Americans are upset about being stopped, not on the border, but miles away from the border. Our government did rule that Border Patrol may set up checkpoints within a reasonable distance of the border. What's reasonable?
They set that distance as 100 air miles from any external boundary of the United States.
100 miles. That's where most Americans live.
That's insane, right? Like 100 miles is nuts. And very few, if you're coming to this country, right? Like if you escape jail, do you wait by the jail? Right? Or do you try to get as far away from jail as possible? You escape into the world. But it's the crazy things that they ask you, and the fact that you feel like you're being interrogated. They bring out this dog, and I've seen it 4 or 5 times where the dog walks around. I don't see him do anything different than the other 3 or 4 or 5 cars, including my car. He doesn't bark and go nuts like I see on Live PD, and they tell somebody to pull over. And I'm like, curious. Again, especially in a place like Blythe, where you go from Arizona into Blythe, and it probably is about 70 miles, 60 miles, maybe 80 miles to, where you would get into, the Yuma part and then into Mexico. That's a hell of a drive. And you're thinking, this is Border Patrol, and we're nowhere near the border of Mexico.
Now he's based in Texas, where he found he had to pass through checkpoints all the time.
There's no way to leave the border town without going through a checkpoint.
The checkpoint he had to pass through most often is 67 miles from the border.
I started to feel like I was asking permission to leave that town. I'm just traveling in the United States. I haven't crossed any borders, and I didn't really like that feeling.
Yeah. In fact, Yuma to Blythe, so literally it is 100 miles. It's 90 miles to Yuma, and it's probably another 9 miles or so, give or take in certain areas, to the border. So it is almost 100 miles inland, not next to Mexico or Canada, and you've got to go through it. You've got to stop down and check down. And it's so funny because they've got the same thing on the freeway in San Diego. So far away. You're literally you drive through San Diego and you get out driving through and you cruise through San Diego out until the coastline, all the way up through San Clemente, and there's a border patrol almost near San Clemente. Which, if for those of you guys, it's nowhere near. It's right next to the ocean, but it's nowhere near. And then if you go through that and you take the 15, you got to go through another one. It is insane. It really, really is.
The Supreme Court said that Border Patrol agents at immigration checkpoints can conduct brief stops for the limited purpose of verifying resident status. They could not involve the searches of individuals or the interior of their vehicles.
Both of you citizens?
Yes. Thank you. The person says, yes, I am, and they should be let go.
According to the Supreme Court, yes.
But that's silly. I mean, the guy would just lie.
It may be silly, but you can't just set up a checkpoint to go on a fishing expedition for all manner of criminal wrongdoing.
But that's exactly what many border agents do.
What's the reason to want to check my trunk? Just your car is dirty?
Your car's dirty. That's the reason? You want to check my trunk because my car is dirty? Right? My car is dirty, so you want to check my trunk. I just want to get this out. My car is dirty. You want to check my trunk. Last week. Where are you going? I said, what does it matter? Where are you coming from? Again, what doesn't matter? Well, I want to know. I'm like, well, where are you going tonight? I mean, this is ridiculous, right? Come on. And then sometimes they just, and at the same time, you'll pass through half of these things and there's nobody there. But I've noticed over the last year, that I have not seen that as much as I used to. I used to go through, I would say 70, 80% of the time, there would be nobody at any of these checkpoints. And it's probably 95% of the time that I'm going to get at least one. And sometimes if I go through 3, which I have to do sometimes, 3 checkpoints. If I'm going from my house through Yuma into San Diego and then out to see my mom, I'll go through 3 checkpoints, and at least 90% of the time, 2 of the 3 are manned. And that's crazy. And they ask you all the time. Like, you know, it's, and I see how they go after some of the people. And I think to myself, you know, and look, you're looking for drugs. But I'm thinking to myself, aren't you, you're looking for drugs? That's what that is. I mean, it's not a dog that's sniffing for human beings. They're looking for drugs, right? They're not looking for bombs. Maybe some of them are. I don't know. But it's very interesting, and it feels invasive, and it's frustrating because you'll be motoring along, and you got to stop down, and sometimes you're sitting there for half an hour. And you're like, I'm in my country. What are you guys doing?
I don't need reasonable suspicion. That's the law, sir. No, it's not.
They might want to ask you about your medical history, where you're coming from.
Is that a toolbox or something?
On other days, they might decide that they want to search your car.
You can't hardly get out on the road now if somebody doesn't stop you. It's like they think everybody out here is a criminal.
These are the kinds of experiences that real people are having on a daily basis at these checkpoints. And they really fundamentally fly in the face of what it means to live in a free society where you don't have to answer to federal agents when you're going about your daily business.
Leave us alone.
Yeah. There's little towns that are absolutely being completely destroyed on the border because of the frustration of people having to go from border checkpoint to border checkpoint to go do anything. And could you imagine if every place that you went in your city, no matter where you are, that there was checkpoints for DUI all the time? How annoying that would be. Could you imagine that?
As the number of interior checkpoints has grown, more Americans say this is destroying our town.
There's less and less tourists coming here.
This woman had to close her business.
It's sad. Economically, this town depends on tourists. And we're not on the border. We're in America.
People in Aravaca say it's like living in occupied territory. Apache helicopters overhead, surveillance towers, dozens of Border Patrol trucks cruise their streets.
It's one block town, and the border's not even close to here.
Yeah, it's crazy. It is really, really nuts. And I all the time I think, well, okay, when, you know, because I come through there so much, at some point in time, you get your pictures snapped and the whole 9 yards, and you think at some point in time, they're going to go, and they're going to say, I need to see you. And I used to, like, for my ADHD, I have my pills, and I used to have, now I carry everything in my bottles, because I don't want them to pull me over and say, oh my God, you're a drug dealer. Or you're this, that, and the other. It is really silly. And this is America. This, and if it was on the border, I got no problem with it. But it's where they're located, where it really makes you just go, 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet along with us. AmazingCryptoClass.com. You're going to want to keep that. Write that down right now. AmazingCryptoClass.com. How would you like to figure out how you can diversify your portfolio and make a ton of money? Cryptocurrency are the future of investments. It's not going anywhere. More and more big companies, more and more big groups are getting involved in it. Now is the perfect time, but first you need to educate yourself. Tiki Tiwari, Wall Street hedge fund guy, right? Former hedge fund guy, was out there, Wall Street, did his thing. He's got the Palm Beach letter. He's going to teach you everything you need to know about how you invest in this. Diversification is key. Education is vitally important. Why not learn from the best? Check it out for yourself. He's going to teach you everything you need to know, how to profit from cryptos, what cryptos are, how they work, which ones he recommends, and how to buy them. Go to AmazingCryptoClass.com, AmazingCryptoClass.com. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter, ChadBenson. The left's outrage again over big game hunters. But they never really find out all of the story, and the story they give you is usually half the story, and that half is usually half wrong. Chad Benson Show.
Take one giant step to the left.
Did you ever have anyone embarrass you like this?
One giant step to the right.
That's all that separates you from everything else that came from slime.
You are now in the alt-middle, where it's just right.
Call if you get weird.
This is the Chad Benson Show.
Rage! So the left has somebody new to hate. She's evil. Tess Thompson Talley. Now, a year ago, she went hunting in Africa, and she killed a giant giraffe. A giant giraffe. Yes. A giraffe that, are you ready for this? According to the left, was a very rare black giraffe.
Was its name Cecil?
No, but it was cousin of Cecil. No, new Cecil. Cecil and them ran in the same kind of pack, in the same circles. So here's a 37-year-old woman from Kentucky, and she's getting hammered. Now, the male giraffes and the female giraffes, just to let you guys know, they turn darker as they get older. Secondly, they're not extinct or anywhere near it. In fact, they're thriving in a lot of areas, and what is threatening them has nothing to do with hunting. This giraffe in particular was an elderly male giraffe who, for $3,000, somebody got to kill. That provided 2,000 pounds of meat for some of the local people. But it's horrible, Chad. Giraffes are gentle giants. Giraffes will kill you in a heartbeat. I watched a thing last week where, man, this giraffe tried to kill this couple on their first day in Africa, within the first hour of getting to their site. But this giraffe was really bad to other giraffes, could no longer reproduce, and had killed 3 younger male giraffes already. So they said, it's time. Here's what some of these amazing people, again, this is over a year ago, right? And I love there's less than 100,000 giraffes on the planet. Some of these things. So here's what Africa Digest. White American savage who is partly a Neanderthal comes to Africa to shoot down a very rare black giraffe, not rare, courtesy of South Africa's stupidity. Her name is Tess Thompson Talley. Please share. So about 50,000 people shared this thing. Moby called her broken and soulless. TV journalist John Simpson called her an idiot woman. Comedian Ricky Gervais said, what's 16 feet tall and has the C word on top of her? Deborah Messing, Will and Grace. She said Tess Thompson Talley from Nippa, Kentucky, is a disgusting, vile, amoral, heartless, selfish murderer, adding that she has a black heart. And I laugh about it. Look, I don't hunt, but I understand how this works. This works in a way where she said, look, he's killed 3. I killed 1. He killed 3 that can continue to breed, but can't anymore because he snuffed them out. And oh, by the way, he can't breed. Well, couldn't they have done something nice, like capture it and do what? No, it's not the way it works. And do what? Stick it in a zoo? I find that to be crueler. And the 2,000 pounds of food, I can guarantee you those people that are getting that are like, people will give it a name, right? Like, oh, it's Fluffy. Who is this Fluffy you are talking about? It's like with Cecil. But I love the rage. It happened a year ago, but we see it and we're like, shark dies, an alligator gets killed. Nobody rages. Nobody rages. Nobody gets pissed, such hypocrisy, you SOBs. You don't give a rat's ass that today somewhere somebody's running over a snake and laughing their ass off. You don't care that somewhere there's a TV show. Think about this for a second. Think about this for 1 second. Is there a TV show called Giraffe Hunter? No. Right? Is there a TV show called Big Game Killer? No. But we got a TV show on TLC with some crazy rednecks with 8 teeth between them who go out and capture and kill alligators, and nobody bats an eye. So please spare me your BS and your whininess, because like everything, it's full of hypocrisy. And my hypocrisy cup, it's already full with all the other crap that you guys have put in there. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Text the program if you want. Like to do that. What's your favorite, hot dogs or hamburgers? That's the poll question today. Take it at Chad Benson Show. It's the Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent in thoughts and punk rock in life. It's the Chad Benson Show.
Mostly use holidays so we can eat more. I normally don't have a burger, a brat, and a steak, but it is 4th of July. And I need the energy if I'm going to start blowing crap up. That's what the founding fathers would want.
Oh, Jim. Probably. We do that, right? Like, I always say, you'll have two burgers and maybe a hot dog when you're at a barbecue. You would never do that. Like, if you went to a restaurant, you're like, I'll take 2 burgers and a hot dog. You wouldn't do that unless you're gross. Chad, I would too. Would you?
I would.
Ah, we know you would, Phil. I heard about your escapades the other day at the old McDonald's. You made me smile, Jim. You made me smile, Phil. I thought, aw, that's good for you, Phil. So the derangement syndrome that's out there, this Trump derangement syndrome. I was talking yesterday to somebody, said, this guy's build apartment complexes, massive condos, skyscrapers, golf courses, country clubs, you name it, he's built it for people to live in. The thing he has built the most, though, where somebody lives is inside people's brains. He's living rent-free inside of people's brains right now, and it is hilarious. It really makes me laugh.
Here's Washington Post writer Jennifer Rubin explaining on MSNBC that Sarah Sanders deserves a, quote, life sentence of harassment from the left for the crime of working for Donald Trump.
Sarah Huckabee has no right to live a life of no fuss, no muss after lying to the press, after inciting against the press. These people should be made uncomfortable, and I think that's a life sentence, frankly.
A life sentence because she worked for the president? Are you kidding me? And remember, when they're on TV, and this is what I'm having a tough time differentiating from. I know there are some people that go on TV and they battle, and part of it is they put that extra mustard on that hot dog, right? They say some stuff that's ridiculous. They say some stuff that's over the top. They say some stuff that catches people's ears because that's what you have to do. They say some stuff that they wouldn't really say, but because they're looking for clicks and views and downloads and all this stuff, they throw a little something on there extra. But I'm starting to believe that as I talk to more and more people, that many of them are drinking this Kool-Aid and they're believing. They're not differentiating from the fact that these people are saying some stuff that get your attention. They're just drinking the Kool-Aid along with it. And that is insane.
She has no right to live a normal life because she disagrees with me. Well, there's nothing liberal about language like that. It is pure authoritarianism.
That is so true. That is so true. To think that you are going to badger somebody because of a different... What's the difference, all right, of badgering somebody and harassing them because of their belief in the right side of the political aisle and the president compared to the left side of the political aisle and badgering them because they're gay or because they're black? Well, it's different, Chad. It's because, you're not going to badger somebody because they're a person of color or because they're the person they love. But going after somebody, you can change your mind. That's your idea? Diversity starts in the mind, period. Case closed. End of story. All the other stuff we see with our mind, we think with our mind. If we can't be diverse in our mind, we're not going to be diverse anywhere else that's real. Right? And if your reason you're only thinking you're diverse is because you can have a gay friend or a black friend, that is stupidity. That really is. If you're closed-minded with everything else, what's it matter? And this is that derangement syndrome that people are having. The attacks on the president because he gets a second choice, so we got to freak out and say the next thing you know, every woman's going to have a chastity belt on. They're going to be stuck inside the kitchen, and they're going to be chained to the sink and to the washing machine. In fact, we're going to get rid of the dishwasher and the washing machine. We're going to make women do it because men are taking over the world because Trump gets his second pick and Roe v. Wade's gone. Stop it, please. They are losing their mind. They are. And I saw it a bit with the right, but it wasn't covered the way that the right covers it now. And it wasn't, trust me, man, I heard about it every day, right? I heard about it. I heard about the gods and the guns and they're taken away and we're all going to be in Sri Lanka and he's a secret Muslim and he wasn't born here and blah, blah. I heard about that. I did. I heard about that. And I just go, next. But I thought a very few amount of people believe that. A common sense alt-middlers that we are, we know that's not true, right? We get that. But a lot of other people, man, they buy it, and he's living rent-free. He's living so rent-free. He's called a fascist, a Nazi. This is fascism. And it's funny how they scream this is fascism by taking away your liberties day in and day out like he does every single second of every single day. It's fascism, fascism, fascism. And then they're like, but you better believe like we do or else. Well, what's that? Well, it's authoritarianism, and it's my side of it. And remember, my hate has morally is justified to be better than your hate. It's crazy.
And angry, indignation is their signature emotion. But a year and a half into the Trump administration, their rage has finally consumed them. The left is spinning completely out of control.
They are out of control. And I feel bad because I get it. You get it, right? We hear these people, they scream and yell. I don't scream and yell. It's not what I do, right? I don't play the baloney game of saying that this is going to happen or that's going to happen. I'm going to give it to you straight. What you do with, the information and facts, I don't want you to look. If I believe something and I've done the fact checking and I've looked at a lot of stuff and I give you my opinion, which is what I do, you don't have to believe what I believe. You can argue with me or you can say, I disagree. Right. But I'm not going to scream and yell from the top of the rooftops. And the right does it and the left does it. They're both guilty of it, depending on whose power. Because as I've told you, how do you keep power? How do you gain power? You've got to have a monster to slay. You cannot be a superhero without an archenemy. You can't be a superhero without an archenemy. And we believe all these different things. You're fine with high taxes and helping people in poverty. For other people, it's pro-choice for this, that, and the other. So what do? Well, the one thing that we can do is we can all unite ourselves in the fact that we dislike this guy. And this guy is the root of all of the problems in the world. This guy's the root of all the evil that's out there in the world. And if we just got rid of this guy, we may fight amongst ourselves, which is what's going on. And they're fractured and they're having trouble. But the reality is, the one thing we all can agree on is this guy is bad and evil. This guy is bad. And the Democrat Party's having their own problems. They're fighting amongst themselves. You've got the establishment who's been around forever and a day, right? And you've got this new, young, uber progressive group that's coming in that isn't about the money, that isn't about the lobbyists. At least that's what they say. And I believe a lot of them are, even though I think some of them are getting some money on the backside of it as their push goes on, because they realize to get there, they're going to have to sleep with the devil at times. But the reality is they're not the centrist, center left. They are progressive. And they're fighting and they're saying crazy things like, we need to get rid of ICE.
Just 2 weeks ago, only a few fringe figures called for abolishing border enforcement.
We need to rebuild our immigration system from top to bottom, starting by replacing ICE with something that reflects our morality.
Look at ICE. What a group of incompetents. At this point, they're focused more on toddlers than terrorists.
You should get rid of it, start over, reimagine it, and build something that actually works.
Look. The toddlers and terrorists thing's a bunch of crap, but I'm all about, maybe not abolishing ICE, because we're going to have to replace it with something. Right? It's not going to be nice. It'll be some form of ice. So you want INS back? What do you want? Well, and this is the issue, because what they want is they want a kinder, gentler, and I love how they talk moralities. And again, don't push your morals on me. I won't push mine on you. I think we have certain morals that are same. Murder's bad, rape, molestation's bad, those kind of things. There's certain morals out there. But you have your morals you push where you think everything is some sort of right. Everybody deserves something. Everybody is a victim, those kind of that. You're pushing that through. But it's funny because they're gleaming on, they're grabbing onto, gotta grab onto this thing because now the left is just, and it's part of that fact that he's living rent-free inside of their minds. And because they're looking and saying he's using ICE as a weapon, therefore ICE must be bad. Oh my Lord. And then you get people coming out, Cynthia Nixon, saying stuff like this.
ICE has strayed so far from its mission. It's supposed to be here to keep Americans safe, but what it's turned into is frankly a terrorist organization of its own.
Now, Cynthia Nixon, she was on, what was that show she was on with the old ladies that lived in New York and slept with everybody? Sarah Jessica Parker show?
Sex and the City?
There you go. Was that horrible I said that? Could you find, there was only one of them that was cute. The dark-haired girl. Outside of that, the rest of them, what is Kim Cattrall? 87? Right? Cynthia Nixon? Come on. It's just an awful show. Chad, you're a jerk. Now, granted, it wasn't my demo. Just saying. And they probably weren't making a show for me. I watched 2 episodes, and I'm like, this is just... But,
hey, Chad?
Yeah?
If you're going to be a jerk, Toddlers and Terrorists, isn't that show on TLC Sunday nights?
Oh, that's right. You're right. Toddlers and Terrorists. Oh, it's TRS and Terrorists. Or is it TRS, Terrorists, and Toddlers? I don't even know. Is that the one with Honey Boo Boo? You better redneckinize. But I love how they want to get rid of all of these things. They're a terrorist organization. Do you really feel that they're a terrorist organization? Do you honestly feel that that's what they are? Do you honestly feel that way? They've strayed so far. Let me tell you something. Border Patrol agents, ICE agents, all of these people, at some point in time, they don't know whether they're coming or going, what they are supposed to do, what they aren't supposed to do. 1 minute, it's like, let everybody in the country. The next minute, it's like, well, let's stop everybody from coming here. It is frustrating. I'm not saying that they don't need some sort of revamp, because I'll tell you what, and we're going to talk about it later with Border Patrol, there needs to be a revamp in some of this stuff. There needs to be a different approach. There does. But I tell you what, I am frustrated, and that's living rent-free. That's living rent-free. My question to all the Democrats out there, my question to you guys, just like Jerry Brown, who was terrified of the 500,000 Vietnamese and Cambodians and Laotians, that what I called as a kid, what we all called were boat people, escaping Pol Pot and all of this communism and this agrarian society he set up as he killed and slaughtered 3 million of his own countrymen and what goes going on in Vietnam and Laos and Laos and all this stuff. Just like with Cubans, which way do they tend to vote? They've come from a communistic world, right? They don't want any part of that. So if tomorrow there was a seismic shift and people from Central America and people from Mexico, right? If they decided, hey, 90% of them or 80% of them say we're going to vote Republican, would tomorrow people be going, we really need to build a bigger wall than Trump's talking about, right? We do. And if the rights, the right would come out and say, whoa, hey, this is great. We need all these people here. Remember what it's about. It's about the future. But it is funny when you listen to them demonize, in a way, ICE, because they're trying to enforce laws. And most of these men and women that are enforcing these, they're just trying to do their job. They are. But he's living rent-free in their head. And that's the derangement syndrome right there. God, that's hilarious. Because you know what's funny is I think he sits around during the day, and he thinks, how can I piss them off? What can I do that's going to enrage them, that's going to inflame anger in them? And what can I do? What weird thing can I tweet? And he does, and they freak out. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Hot dogs or hamburgers? That's our poll question today as we barbecue a lot tomorrow, as we blow stuff up. Which is your jam, hot dog or hamburger? I prefer both, but if I had to choose one for tomorrow, I'm going hot dog. Beef dog, though, Nathan's, Hebrew National. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. It is the Chad Benson Show.
You call it ridiculous. We call it reality with a twist. Say what?
Mark your calendars for Monday, July 16th, 3 p.m. Eastern Time. That's when Amazon Prime Day 2018 kicks off. It's really a day and a half, running 36 hours through July 17th, 6 hours longer than last year's 30-hour shopping spree. The online retail giant plans to launch some new products this year in addition to the discounts, hoping to keep would-be subscribers engaged, especially after raising the annual and monthly membership fees by 20%. Amazon's also going to offer Prime Day specials at Whole Foods.
What? Amazon Prime, baby. We like our Prime. So I last year I was like, oh, I'll just check this thing out, see if it's any good. And I was like, oh my God, there's so much good stuff here. It's so cheap. So Amazon Prime Day. And you know that they're growing still at such a rapid pace? Because we think that everybody, like a joke around, like Trump has 51 million followers. Yeah, but the reality is 51 million followers isn't really 51 million followers. It's not 51. It's probably 11 million. That probably 1.5 million follow him religiously. At least looks at one or two of his tweets. Out of that, maybe a couple 100,000 follow him like every move he makes. And we think like Amazon Prime. We think everybody in the world has Amazon Prime. And the reality is that's not true. They're still growing. Say, what? I know. I think they're going to be the first $1 trillion company. I know it's a race between them and Apple, and maybe Google's, comes up with some of this medical stuff, but I think Amazon is going to hit it out the park first for the trillion. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Before we were talking earlier about the fact that people get mad, right, at this lady in Kentucky who kills a giraffe a year ago, and it gets posted somewhere, and then it goes viral, and then everybody's mad at her, and the threats come, and the BS, and you sit there and you shake your head, and you're like, whatever, right? Like, I don't even, whatever. It's just stupid. But nobody cares about swamp people, right? Like, hey, what are you doing? Me and Jethro's out here in the swamp, and we're going to catch ourselves a gator, and we're going to kill our gator, and they're shooting gators as they're tied up. And I'm thinking to myself, the hypocrites. And everybody was laughing about the whole swamp people thing, because that's what it's like. They're out there just catching gators and shooting them, and you don't care if it's not cute. If it's cute and cuddly, aw. If it's scaly, you think it's ugh. And that's your hypocrisy. And yes, it is swamp people. I said gator hunters or whatever earlier. Gator folk. Tonight on A&E, gator folk. We're going to hunt gators, me and old Jethro here. We're going to get out there and just hunt some gators and do gator stuff. That's what we're going to do. And that's the way they act. They probably don't, off air, they're probably like, oh, I hate this persona of doing this, but it pays. And so if they want me to hunt gators in some sort of overalls with no T-shirt, I will. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. A lot of people like both. You only get to choose one, hot dog or hamburger. Which one are you? You get to choose one to eat. Which one are you going to choose when you're barbecuing? And some good hot dogs as well. It's the Chad Benson Show.
This is the Chad Benson Show. independent in thought, and punk rock in life. It's the Chad Benson Show.
Democrats have made it abundantly clear that they don't actually want to fix problems. They just want to talk about this all the way. I guess for some reason they think this is a good issue for them, although it isn't. Frankly, I think it's outrageous that Democrats have not come to the table and tried to help fix this problem.
Sarah Huckabee Sanders right there, that evil woman. That evil woman. That evil woman. Here's the thing about immigration. And like for a lot of people, so you live on the border. It is obviously if you're a border state, it's a bigger issue, right? And a lot of these people that are fighting over immigration, they're fighting over it, but it doesn't really affect them the way it does. And this is something, you live in Arizona, you live in California, New Mexico, Texas. It's a huge issue, right? It's a massive issue. Because of, obviously, the border, how it affects things. I was talking today to somebody about this. I had taken an Uber in because my car's getting fixed. And he and I were chatting, and I said, let me tell you something. I was born and raised in Southern California, right? And I've lived, from Sacramento down to San Diego. And I will tell you this. I remember I went to Minnie Gant Elementary School. Minnie Gant, I don't even know who she is. That's right. We were the Gators. Go Gators! So I went to Minnie Gant Elementary School. And I think I was in third grade when we got the first kid who spoke no English. He didn't speak a lick of English. And we were, you're third grade. It wasn't like it is now where, where you see people of Hispanic, nature everywhere, right? Mexicans, Hondurans, people from Costa Rica, from all over. It wasn't like that. We were predominantly a white school with a few kids that were black. But the reality was this is what it was. And we got our first kid that came there. And it was so weird, right? Because the weirdest thing was the fact that, first of all, he and I became fast friends because we both love soccer, right? We both love soccer. And secondly, it was a very interesting thing because he didn't know English. And I mean, he didn't know there was no English. He didn't know a lick of English, right? And it was great. My grandfather would teach me some words because he's from Mexico, born and raised. And, and so he would teach me some words here and there. But it was very interesting. And you look at the world that we live in now, whether it be California or Arizona, Texas, and across the country too, it is, it's gone on from there and it's kind of flowed outward. But it is a deal and it is a big conversation in and around there on how immigration affects everything, not just the negative, because you can point to the negative, but the stresses on the services and those kind of things. And the reality is it does matter to more for somebody in Texas, California, New Mexico, Arizona than a lot of other states because we live it every single day. It's frustrating, though, that neither side wants to actually come to any kind of conclusion. Like, hey, we've got a conclusion here. The conclusion is we can sort this thing out. That's our conclusion. Or we can ignore it, which is the conclusion we're going to go with. So we had two potential conclusions here. One, fix something. Two, the conclusion we're going with is ignore the hell out of it, but focus on the problem. We're going to ignore a fix, but focus on the problem, which gives us the other conclusion is nothing's going to get done. That's our conclusion. Nothing gets done, and we continue to move on with a bunch of crap and fighting. And it is frustrating. It is frustrating. The Uber driver I was driving with, he and I were having a very nice conversation. And I said to him, the last 2 days I've had two Uber drivers, and we both talked about this because they said, what do you do? And I said, well, I'm a ninja. And they're like, no way. I said, yeah, I'm a shepherd too. And that's pretty cool. But, my sheep are gone today and my car's getting worked on. And it was odd, right? Like, I'm going to tell you guys this story. And got in the car and he was actually listening. Said right on the Chad Benson Show. It's funny. But everybody's got an opinion about this. And when I talk to a lot of people that are conservative, they're not the hardliners that I think a lot of people, like there are a lot of people out here just throw everybody out of here. Throw everybody out of here. A lot of them are frustrated because they thought that Trump went too far with that. And you know what? I thought that Trump went too far. It doesn't mean that kids weren't going to get separated. But even them are, even people who are conservative are frustrated because the Republicans aren't doing what they should be doing. And the left is frustrated because they just seen it as he's a bad person, he's a mean person, but your party's doing nothing. You know, we're going to, and the stories, I get it, right? You roll out the stories about, here's a 29-year-old Jenny Gonzalez. That's what she goes by, who was in Arizona, released from a detention center.
I'm hoping that we will continue to pressure this administration to release all mothers, reunite all 2,000 families separated.
So, that's to me is also a frustration right there. I'm hoping that we put pressure on. Well, first of all, you come to our country here illegally, all right? Regardless of why you come here, whether it's you feel that you're running for your life or whatever it is, you even somewhat demanding, that to me is a frustration, right? That to me is a frustration because, well, who are you to demand what we do? But I get it. I don't like the fact that these kids are in places that, where you're terrified. I mean, I think about Jack in a situation like that because I can have that kind of understanding where you're like, man, what would my son be like? Right? What would be my son in a situation like this? So how do we fix this thing? How do we fix this thing? What is the fix that we have here? And why doesn't anybody want to fix anything? But most importantly, why aren't we demanding more? Why are we, as the alt-middlers, as I call ourselves here, if you're new to the show, we are common sense people who look at all sides of all stories and then we go from there. Why aren't we demanding more from these people and then swapping out people that will give us more? Damn Skippy, we need to. But when you roll out, I see the rolling out of the mothers, and I don't buy it. I know it's a sad situation. I do. I know it's a sad situation. I want to find a fix to this. But I want to find a fix to it all, not just a portion of it. And a fix that does represent who we are. Because, as I try to explain people here, who a lot of conservatives, I think and I'm not talking about the average, Republican out there or whatever. I'm talking about some people out there, they have lost their way. We as a country are a great country. We're the most amazing country. It's the most amazing time. And we have opportunities here from people to come here and to bring their life and their skill set. And for some people to bring some greatness to this country. And I love the fact that we are welcoming. And we we are more than just, the right side of the aisle and the left side. We're more than just those. Those don't speak to me. I look at them. That's not America, right? First and foremost, the right and left side are not America as far as politics go. That doesn't represent who we are. What represents is who we are as a nation, you and I as people. And I don't think this represented us very well. I don't. But I also think ignoring things didn't represent us very well either. So what is the fix? One of the things I've talked about is, should we look at doing something if we fix the NAFTA treaty in a way that helps all parties and isn't horrible to one party, which is us? If we are to fix the NAFTA treaty, could we look at a way where if you're part of North America, you're Mexico, you're Canada, you're America, that we are able to freely move amongst those, kind of like they do in Europe, right? Kind of like they do in Europe. Would that be a fix? That's an interesting thing to think about. Oh, Chad, you're just offering, you're just throwing something out there that is, and just you're offering everybody in the world from North America to move around. Would it be a fix? Would it be? Little things like that I think we need to look at. Remember, what we're doing now isn't working. So when we start to say, how can we think outside the box in a way that's going to make it better for all of us? Why not look at all things? Something to think about. And the other thing to think about is, isn't it time that we start looking at ways that we replace these people who do nothing on big issues with people who will have the courage to do the right thing? Even if at times it shows that maybe we don't have the empathy that people want us to have, or it shows that maybe you're heartless, but it's the right thing to do for us as a country. I think it is. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet along with us. Investing. I had my own firm for a while. I liked it. I liked being it. I didn't like the high stress and the stuff that came with it, and it wasn't my passion. But I tell you what, you got to learn to diversify. And a diversified portfolio is a healthy portfolio. And one of the things you should always do is, what is the future of investing going to be like? Cryptocurrencies is definitely one of those things you should be looking at. But for a lot of people, they shy away, mostly because, like everything else, fear takes them away. They don't understand it. They don't know what it is. So they walk away from it. Guess what? That can be solved by educating yourself. Tiki Tawari from the Palm Beach Letter, Wall Street guy, hedge fund guys, made more money for cryptocurrency arguably than anybody else around, has put together a new course, an educational course that is going to teach you everything you need to learn and to know about cryptocurrencies in a way that'll give you a great understanding, and you could step back and say, I can make an educated decision about whether or not I want to invest in these. Check it out for yourself at amazingcryptoclass.com, amazingcryptoclass.com. You're going to learn about what cryptos are, how they work, where you spend them, how you buy them, which ones he recommends. Check it out for yourself. Go to amazingcryptoclass.com, amazingcryptoclass.com. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at me. Question of the day today is simple. Hot dogs or hamburgers? You're barbecuing tomorrow night. You know you're going to be doing some dogs. You're going to be doing some burgers. Which one is your go-to if you had to choose just one? Hot dogs, hamburgers? Take the poll at Chad Benson Show on Facebook as well. Chad Benson Show. It is the Chad Benson Show.
No fake outrage here, just the real thing. The Chad Benson Show.
Oh, people are texting in saying it's a very interesting thought I posed. I want to hear from you. You can text the program 323-538-2423 about maybe when we look at redoing NAFTA, one of the things we say in there is, hey, do something very similar to Europe, which is if you're part of NAFTA, you're part of North America, that you can freely move amongst the countries and work in the countries and maybe give out X amount of visas, and those visas will be allowed to be used. So if maybe you say we'll have a 500,000 agricultural visas that'll be handed out, and first come, first serve kind of thing. And then we'll give out, and that's for just Mexico and Canada, those kind of things. And we move amongst each other freely. I like something like that. Maybe you say we're going to have X amount of visas handed out over, for tech. Maybe it's 100,000 for tech. Maybe it's, whatever it is. And that way we have a better control over it. And then anybody else here, if you're caught working here or whatever, you're punished. You're sent home. And make it much easier for somebody who's coming here to work, to stay, to live. And that way you have control. Because right now we don't have control. And that's really what it's about. A nation that is a nation that has borders should have control over what it is and who it is that they allow in and out of here. And in Canada, and in Mexico. So that way, but Canada and Mexico also have to be freely allow us to do the same thing. Where if somebody wants to go to Canada to work and they have an opportunity to, it should be easier for an American or for somebody from Mexico get an opportunity to go to Canada. And that Canada has to open up their visas, as does Mexico. Because maybe somebody has an opportunity to go to Mexico City or to Monterrey or someplace like that. Makes it easier for us to move about our nations freely because this is North America. Why not? Because what we have right now when it comes to immigration is a joke. So why not think outside the box? The war on drugs has failed. Think outside the box. Because wearing red, hey, it's Red Ribbon Week. None of that crap works, all right? Let's think outside the box. How do we think outside the box? What's going to change this insanity we have, which is doing the same thing over and over? Maybe we say, look, we have, 2 million visas to hand out between Canada and Mexico, and we go from there. And it's simple, it's easy, the applying is easy, and once they're out, once they run out, boom. And if one leaves, then a new visa opens up, right? If somebody says, I got a visa for a year, and they're only here for 6 months, and they go home, then a new visa opens up, and another person could come in. But look at doing things much differently than what we're doing now. Make it easier for us to travel to Canada and to Mexico to work there, and vice versa. See what happens there. Well, Chad, maybe they're all come here and stay. No, that's why you have but the thing is, when you have a defined thing of this is what it is. See, what we're trying to do is we're trying to retrofit immigration. You can't do that. People already, have planted themselves here, and they've gone and so much, and they've become part of society, and they've had kids here and all these kind of things. And it's time to stay. Let's stop retrofitting. Let's get it right now. So going forward in 5 or 10 years, that they're not continually kicking the can down the road. There's ways of doing that. Why not try to say, hey, look, let's do a little bit like Europe does and allow a lot more free movement and free employment amongst North America. And we go from there. And we can then control it because we'll define it in such a way that we can control it so much better. They won't. They'll fail that too, because they won't listen to something like that. Like, that sounds like it could make sense. God, I'm not doing that. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. People are saying, what's the right hot dog? Nathan's and Hebrew National are the right hot dog. Beef dogs are great. Hot dog or hamburger? Which person are you? Text the program. Take the poll at Chad Benson Show. It is the Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent in thoughts and punk rock in life. It's the Chad Benson Show.
The announced retirement of Supreme Court Justice Anthony Kennedy this week helped make one political reality clear. Despite his overall unpopularity, President Trump is winning, and the Democrats right now are reeling.
Yeah, he is winning. And we talked a bit about it yesterday. It's funny because, look, his overall popularity, let's break this down. Most people can differentiate between the two. His popularity as a human being has nothing to do with whether or not he's winning in the policy world or the political world, right? I can differentiate between the two. I don't have to like the guy. I've worked with a lot of people in life, and I've played sports enough at high levels to know that there are a lot of people that didn't like me and I didn't like them, and that they weren't popular. But if you're winning, it's okay. Has nothing to, that's just it. You don't have to like the person. And a lot of this is about he's unpopular for his personal life, his attitudes. Well, Chad, he's unpopular for his policies. Yes, on the left he is, but on the right he's not unpopular for his policies. They may not like the way he's handled some of the things, immigration, the separating of the children thing. But the reality is when you look at it, that's on you guys. You in the media push, oh, he's unpopular. Why? Oh, because he had a girlfriend, because of this, because of that, the things he says, blah, 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 blah. That's all personal, right? I guarantee you, some of you listening right now, some of you're working with people that are competent at their jobs, but you can't stand them. They're awful. You wouldn't want to be friends with them. You wouldn't want to marry them. You wouldn't want to date them. You wouldn't want to hang out with them outside of work. You dread company parties. You know that. You understand that. And I told you, if it comes time that now all those things change. If they slip at their job, right? Like you look at sports teams. Yesterday, Boogie Cousins signs to play for the Golden State Warriors, who arguably, if it was this time last year and they did it, they would be like, this is unfair, because then he tore his Achilles. So, but he's still one of the probably, potentially a top 20, 25 player who's now signed on for Golden State. Everybody's already saying the season's over. You're seeing even NBA players saying, well, this is ridiculous. They got 5 All-Stars in their starting lineup. I mean, this is a joke. People are saying, is this the greatest lineup in history? Now, that all sounds great, but he's also, everywhere he's ever been, as we know, he's a giant pain in the ass. And he's not loved on his teams. And some teams stay away from him for that. So it's great if they win, but if they lose and it starts to become a nightmare, then guess what? That becomes bigger. Same thing. If Trump's economy takes a dive, all the other noise that's out there right now, because we don't like him personally, that becomes bigger and more of an issue. But who cares about his popularity amongst whether or not he's a cool cat? We think he's neat, think he's nice. If his policies are winning and politically he's winning, that's what matters right now. And Chuck Todd's right.
The Supreme Court. Mr. Trump is about to shape the court for a generation by choosing a possible tie-breaking conservative justice. And he's already filled the lower courts with like-minded conservatives. How about the Republican Party? The president's approval rating among Republicans is around 90%. Elected Republicans fear criticizing him, and the party has become a cult of personality. His.
Some of that's very true. I think there is a bit of there are people out there, and they, if I say one negative thing, I get hate mail like you could not believe. Just vile things sent. There is that cult of personality out there. But when you have a 90% approval, it's not a 90% approval rate of him as a human being. Let's remember that, right? It's 90% of the job that he's doing. Because as I talked yesterday about the gentleman over the weekend, when Jack and I are hanging out, I'm talking to a guy who's from Oklahoma, who is as conservative as you would see. Conservative as you would see. 84, Christian, conservative as you would see. He says, I can't stand him. I think he's an awful human being. And then he finished it with, but his policies are working. Ooh. That means a win. And that's the desperation, this Trump derangement syndrome, all this stuff. That's the desperation, because you can't do anything about it. You can't do anything about it. You could try. You could scream. You can yell. You can get in front of microphones. You could do all of these things, but you can't do anything about it because he's winning. And right now, the power and the ball is truly in his court.
Yet with unemployment down and jobs being created, President Trump is getting this credit. Still, much of Mr. Trump's success is superficial. While he's more popular among Republicans, the party overall is shrinking. His trade war, North Korea, or the Mueller investigation all could turn against him, and frankly could turn against him now like North Korea has.
Yeah, that's not over and done and dusted, but yeah, there's some concern there. But we always knew there was going to be some concern. And everybody's always known, even if they're able to get him to do something and they open up their doors a little bit, that the reality is North Korea is always going to be North Korea. And that's why you got to trust but verify, or don't trust and verify. But that's still going to take a while. A lot of people loved Obama, didn't like his policies, right? Good guy. I liked Obama. I had I didn't like a lot of his policies, but I didn't think he was a horrible human being. I'll tell you, if you ask me today, who do you like more as a person? I'd probably say Obama. I think, to me, Now, I've never met either of them. One of them could be a giant jerk, and Trump could turn out to be great. I tell you what, I had a friend, this is a perfect example. I have a friend who's uber liberal. And one night he happened to meet W, and he said, you know what, man? Dude's a funny, real good guy. Didn't like his policies, but man, he was a really gracious, nice guy. Be open and honest about that. I bet if many of you who don't like Obama's policies, met Obama, you might think he's a good guy. Oh, he's not a bad guy. And maybe say the same thing for Trump. But Trump is winning. And like I said, at any moment, this economy goes south, things, certain situations go, it could change. But that's not the only problem the Democrats have. Like I said, the only thing they're united on is they don't like Trump. Outside of that, they're a fractured mess.
But if the Democrats' reaction this week to the Kennedy retirement proved anything, it's that the Democratic Party has not figured out how to succeed in the Trump era.
We Democrats are a big tent.
The Supreme Court fight has exposed a Democratic Party largely united in opposition to the president, but divided over goals, messaging, and tactics.
So funny. I just said that, oh, you like Obama more? Yeah, I guess that's because you're a bleeding heart liberal, you a-hole. That's how long it took. That's how long it took to get one of those. I'm not saying I like Obama more. What I said was, right now, if you ask me which one, who I think, if just looking outside, because remember, I don't know either of them, and neither do you. Yeah, I would probably say Obama would probably be a little bit, I'd probably like Obama more just on the surface of what I see right this second. In fact, you know what, though? If you ask me who I like probably the most, I'd probably tell you this. I think W, and I have met Clinton. He's a nice guy. He was a funny dude. So, met W. He's a nice guy, funny dude. I probably like them more than all of them. But that's the reality of it. We don't know these people. But when we talk about, and this is what we need to remember, when people talk about the disdain they have for Trump, it's him as a person. That's the way, you. If you have nothing else to attack, what are you going to say? You and the economy. Can't do that, right? Immigration, they like to attack certain things, but there's certain things they don't attack because they know they created this mess, so they stay away from it. They make it all about the empathy and the sadness, and you pulled away kids from their mothers. So, right? So there's the struggle there. The other side of things, what are you going to say? ISIS, defeated ISIS. When's the last time you heard anybody talk about ISIS? Honestly. Producer Phil, when's the last time you even heard somebody mention it?
Been a while.
Been forever. Yeah, it's been a while. Right? So that's gone. Right? He's sat down with North Korea. I mean, there's all these things. So you have to attack his person. And let's be real, his person isn't really the greatest. You look at the way he's treated women, and you look at, some of the things that are going on here. I think it's fair to ask, you could sit there and go, look, I don't want to be married to the guy. I don't have to be married to the guy. I'm just saying. But for the Democrats, there are issues that they need to address. They're united in one thing, the hatred of this guy. But as far as everything else goes, they've got nothing else. So you got to attack him. That's all you've got. That's all you have is you got to attack him. You got to hope that something comes out of this whole thing with Comey and with Mueller, and that's your hope. Your hope is we need a miracle, and the miracle is they find some sort of collusion. That's it. Because if it's like it is now and it's rolling through November, people can say, I don't like him. They get in that ballot box because he's still on the ballot, whether people want to believe it or not. And they're like, yeah, I don't really like him as a person, but I really like my 401k and the economy's going pretty well. And I don't know if I want to rock that boat and just flip everything upside down and make him a president that can't do anything. We'll just move on from that.
Democrats with 2020 ambitions, eager to win progressive support, are promising the base a fight.
Don't tell me that this battle is one that's already lost. I do not believe that.
This is a fight that is born out of love of country, and we're not going to let anyone take our flag.
We will fight today. We will fight tomorrow.
But that's it. I mean, we're fighting. That's it. We'll resist. We're fighting. We're fighting. But when you listen to him fight, it's all about how he doesn't have a heart. It's all about how horrible he is as a person. But very little is it about economy and stuff like that. And when we vote with our pocketbooks, by and large, it's tough. It is. So your only prayer is they find something inside the Mueller investigation, because Trump is winning on policy. He got tax cuts. He's beat down ISIS. and chased him all over the place. He's at least met with North Korea, which is more than I could say for the last umpteen presidents and people. He's at least, albeit in a misguided way, trying to tackle immigration. He killed the big thing that kept Obamacare somewhat alive. For a lot of people out there, that makes it, he's going to have 2 Supreme Court justices. One that's already through and one that will probably get through. And he's got unemployment in the economy. That looks pretty good. For 4 years, let alone a year and a half. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. MyPillow. It's great. MyPillow is my pillow. Your pillow is your pillow. But MyPillow is better than your pillow. So you should get a MyPillow. See the way I did that there? I love it. Last night I did not have my MyPillow with me. And, it was a nightmare. I can't wait to get home and fall asleep with MyPillow. I need it. Jack loves his. I love mine. You'll love yours. 100% machine washable and dryable. Made right here in the USA. Backed by a 10-year warranty. It will be the pillow that you sit there and go, this is changing the way I sleep, which is changing my life because I have more energy. I feel better. It's time for you to get yourself a MyPillow. Go to MyPillow.com. Use promo code Benson for my premium offer. This is what you get. 2 premium pillows for one low price plus free shipping. That's free shipping, limited time offer. 2 premium pillows fit to you and your sleep partner for one great low price. You can call 800-944-4975. That's 800-944-4975. When you do, use my promo code Benson or go to MyPillow.com. Use my promo code Benson for your special premium offer. Do it today. You will not be disappointed. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. We've got a poll question up. We'll touch on that. I've got your useless fact of the day. Straight ahead, Chad Benson Show.
Time to trade your social media addiction in for a healthier vice. No 12-step program needed for this habit.
I like it.
The Chad Benson Show.
So Walmart is getting just absolutely crushed and bombarded by phone calls. There's a hashtag boycott Walmart going around because apparently online you can order Impeach 45 t-shirts. So, and of course the media outcry, and the right's not as good as the left when it comes to boycotting. But apparently it was found on their sites. I don't know if it doesn't look like it's at the stores. People are tweeting at Walmart, why are you selling Impeach 45 baby clothes on your website? What kind of message are you trying to send? People are encouraging to call Walmart and to boycott Walmart. I'm just like, really? This is it. This is the craziness of it all. There is, with Trump, there is no downtime. Normally this time of year, it is completely dead. But it's SCOTUS. And come Monday, he's going to make his pick, and the fight will be on. And then everybody will dig into all of these people, which the media's already done that. The 4 or 5 people he's interviewed who they believe to be the front runners, they've already got everything they know. They know every case, they know all of these things. And so they'll be ready to roll with this. But there is no downtime with Trump. There's no downtime with him and the media. There isn't like, we'll discuss other things. So it's interesting, even now, it's like, did Walmart, I find it hard that Walmart has that up. I find that hard to believe. I do. Now, if you want, just because it's Walmart, of all the places you would think would be pro-Trump, if you were going to talk about a store, the left would be Target, the right would be Walmart, right? Both of them are Amazon, but you can get anything you want on Amazon. Right? But if you're talking about stores, you would think, okay, well, the right would probably be Trump and the left would probably be Target. And I find it hard to believe that they have that up. That's just me. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. I've got a poll question up. Are you burgers Or are you a dogs person? Tomorrow, we're going to be barbecuing. We're going to be blowing stuff up because that's pretty much what we do on this day. So we celebrate our independence. And we're like, hey, you know what we should do? We should eat so much food that we can't really eat anymore. We have to undo our pants, right? And we should drink insane amounts of alcohol. And then we should head over to the fireworks and either blow stuff up and or watch stuff being blown up. I'm not a big fireworks person. 28% of you say hot dogs, 62% say burgers, 18% say other. I'm a hot dog person. You can't go wrong with any of that, though. Here's your useless factoid of the day. NASA has got it down to a science, and they say 26 minutes is the perfect nap. So if you're looking to take a nap, 26 minutes is perfect for you. Have yourself a great rest of your day and a happy 4th of July and a safe one as well. I'll be back next week taking some well-earned time off. Night-night, Jack.
This is the Chad Benson Show.